Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Fireside Cast. We have got a heck of a game for you tonight. It is going to be 400 BMI versus Invictus. My name's Tcmano. We got M17 in the booth, Jay on production, and this is going to be the upper bracket finals for advanced playoffs. 400 BMI is your first seed. Invictus coming in right behind them, and I haven't been following too much of Advanced M1, so you're going to have to help me out here. But just judging by the players we got in the server, we are on for what should be a really great series.
Yeah, it really is going to be a great series. So far, the 400 BMI team has been maybe slightly favored. It's been a 2-1 matchup spread, or in terms of the head-to-heads. 400 BMI has won two of the matches, and Invictus won one of the matches. So it still should be pretty even. I honestly do expect to go to all three maps here tonight, and I don't know what I'm expecting on each of these maps, but I'm expecting a good back and forth game, to be honest.
Hopefully, we do get that as the winner here is going to be going into grand finals, locked and loaded, secured, and just going to be awaiting whoever is going to face them. So a little bit on the line, a guaranteed second place for the winner. But I guess we can go over these rosters as well. So on 400 BMI, the top seed heading into this, and the people, as you previously mentioned, with potentially a little bit more going in their favor, it is going to be Yoshi, sorry, and Ayaya on Scout. Two amazing names to say. Ayaya specifically, Minaj on Soldier, along with DWW. Indust on Medic, and Spoonful on Demo. A lot of names that people should recognize. Indus, of course, being a invite medic for quite a while, made a little bit of a return, is now playing in advanced, very capable. There is a saying that predates a lot of people's time in TF2, which is "In dust we trust," which I think 400 BMI is going to be hoping to be the case tonight.
Yeah, and going over the Invictus roster, it's going to be Refame on Combo Scout, Math on Flank Scout, Peppa on Pocket Soldier, GMK on Roamer, Pineapple on Demo, and Azen on Medic. So definitely the experience is more spread out on that team, but I mean, on the side of 400 BMI, there's still tons of experience, obviously from Indus, but also Minaj has a bit of invite experience, so uh, he's going to be not playing Scout, of course, but still going to expect to see some interesting stuff from him tonight. And honestly, on the side of the Invictus team, it's it's pretty balanced, I would say. I don't think like I've seen anything crazy from any one particular player like outstanding over any of the others. I'm honestly surprised at I guess maybe how well Pineapple's doing on demo, but other than that, like honestly, all the players seem uh, really solid, and I do think it's going to be pretty even amongst them all.
Yep. I will agree with that just from my limited knowledge. I know AZN has played quite a few seasons and Invite as well, along with, a lot of people on Invictus, as you did mention. Pineapple GMK, I know definitely have. But AZN, I think they played on quite a few iterations of My Anime List and the various forms that they have taken, kind of being a medic for that squad. So both medics having quite a lot of, I'd say, mid to high level invite experience to maybe help out their team tonight and secure the victory on these three maps. If we get to all three, which is going to be Bagel, that's going to be the first one that we start off with. Then we're going to go to Metalworks. And if we get there, going to be Sunshine. I don't know how closely you've been following these teams, M1, but do the picks and bans kind of make sense from your understanding? 400 BMI picking Bagel, Invictus pitting Metalworks, and then the last one being Sunshine. As we are about to go live, I guess we'll get your quick prediction for this first map of Bagel.
Uh, I'm gonna say 4-3 in favor of 400 BMI. I'm really unsure. In the regular season, 400 BMI won two games on Gully Wash, and then that was what was first banned here from Invictus. But they picked Metalworks, which will be map 2. So we'll see how that happens. We'll see how that plays out once we get to Metalworks. But we're just starting with Bagel now, and I don't know what we'll see from either of these teams. So far, nobody's getting really aggressive, although here comes the first house shove. Peppa going down early, and GMK going to go down as well, not getting that kill onto into so many low players on the side of 400 BMI. They do get 2 kills, and they only lost 1, so they're going to be taking this slow, trying to slowly work their way to on the point and just get some cap time, making sure they're not, you know, rushing anything. But looks like actually Refame is going to go down trying to stop the point.
Yeah, it's going to go down. So does Map as well, and that is going to be the first capture up for 400 BMI. Is going to have 100% Uber in just a little bit. Indust just going right up and is going to have it now. So they're getting in position, going for a little bit of a forward hold, not committing too far forward to it because they know that AZN has this Uber just to use at a moment's notice. They're going forward, going to be able to take it in on Refame. Indust is going to have to use as well. So both Ubers have been used. A little bit later for 400 BMI Minaj. Waddling forward is going to be able to get the kill on the Refane. A bomb, though, on the Indus from GMK. Might get the kill. No, Indus is going to be able to survive. Very crucial from him. Pineapple now going in for a bomb. Is going to be able to find it with one of his stickies. Very good stuff from him there because AZN has been able to survive and is going to be able to build up a nice Uber, allowing Invictus to walk back and maybe get on the point.
Yeah, and right now all the damage is permanent, so that means that Invictus should have a very easy time just getting through these doorways. All they have to do is get a bit of chip damage here, and they can already start baiting out this cap as they are already doing. But Indust has respawned. He is here to get the heals. Already a demo bomb in onto the medic. Azen takes a lot of damage, is cleaned up by DWW, and is eventually going to go down there, but a huge 3-person stack for the med is definitely worth it at this point in time. But now it's just going to be 400 BMI waiting for their spawners, and Invictus is now in the exact opposite situation as they were just a few seconds ago.
Yep, they've got to try and do exactly what 400 BMI did to them as 400 BMI walk forward. They're going to get Indust out, try and make sure that no one gets on top of them and maybe negates this Uber advantage that they have. And going forward, get a little bit of cap time onto the point. Yoshi playing it, just going to back up. Here comes one bomb from GMK. Oh my god, gets launched up into the sky. I think it might have been a pipe or a rocket that hit him, but no one has been able to get onto the medic, and Indust is going to survive the 4-man. And that allows 400 BMI to get on the point with Uber advantage.
Yeah, and they even denied, delayed capping the point for their spawners. They didn't want to avoid giving DWW a late spawn there. So they're going to have quite a bit of space, and DWW should be here hopefully for them in time, but already Invictus is trying to break through, but DWW is already here set up in this main. They're trying to break through on the side of Invictus. They get an early force from 2 soldiers, and that's a sack from there. And I think Demo, Pineapple is just going to jump out, and the rest of Invictus are going to be okay with waiting this out for their 2 spawners. And even though they're down a minute, they have a full Uber ad, so they are not in the worst position yet, but it's still going to be a little bit of an uphill battle for them, especially because these 2 soldiers could be really aggressive from the side of 400 BMI.
Oh, but one of them might be caught out. Minaj is super duper weak. It's going to get a pack to get out, but that does allow everyone else on Invictus to rotate through. They do lose one in GMK, but they still do have the Uber advantage and a lot of space to work with for Fame. Going to be playing the point. Maybe trying to go for a wraparound, is going to commit a lot of damage onto AZN, is going to have to use the Uber, but there are also a lot of weak players on 400 BMI. No one falling just quite yet. Math is going to be the first one to fall actually for Invictus. Minaj is in the backlines. They should know about him, but that might not stop him from getting killed. No, is going to go down. A bomb from DWW is going to find Pineapple, and immediately 400 BMI retaking the point. They do lose a lot for it though, and I think they are going to have to back it up, but M1, they do have Uber advantage, and you can already see they're immediately walking right back in.
Yeah, and with Pineapple dead, this is going to be really, really tough fight for the side of Invictus. Already Peppa doing some very solid damage onto Indus. That might delay things, although Peppa is kind of caught on the point, so is going to go down early. GMK does get a nice force onto Indus, and is still alive in the backlines. Does not get the kill onto Spoon, unfortunately, and that means almost a full minute time advantage here for 400 BMI. And Invictus does have Uber, so it's definitely not the end of the world. And there's not a complete, really strong setup here. There's nothing really on the right side, so it looks like GMK and Math are actually going to get through for free, except Refame and the combo just went directly through using their Uber, and they didn't get anything out of that.
They didn't get anything. Now they're going to be able to capture the point. Only 8 seconds stopping 400 BMI from walking away with this first round, but bombs are going to come in onto Indus. GMK is going to be able to find it. Really great salvage from him there, but unfortunately for him, his medic also fell. AZN sent to the respawn room, and it's only on Math is going to fall to DWW. in one of the houses, and with this being captured up, it's looking really good for 400 BMI. I don't think anyone on Invictus is speedy enough to get to the point. Actually, Peppa was very, very close. Admirable attempt from him to get only a few inches away from it, but at the end of it all, it's going to be 400 BMI walking away with the first round.
Yeah, definitely. That's a situation there right at the end where, honestly, I think it might have been in Invictus's best interest to not go for the med. I mean, it's already a tough uphill battle there when you're down a minute on the clock, but, you know, that might have been a situation where you kind of have to go for broke. But, I mean, honestly, the whole situation there of just losing your med, or, excuse me, losing your Uber advantage there, just having to use through the doorway is really, really brutal. But already into the second round, GMK very low, going to be the first death for Invictus.
Yeah, that is going to make it a lot harder for Invictus to try and play the point. They are doing well to not give it up. Peppa is actually going to find one on DWW, so that's going to be a really great equalizing kill there. Make it even players across the board. Yoshi getting very far forward, doing a little bit of damage on the pineapple. Now Refame coming back in to play the point. They have a lot of cap time, Invictus, actually. They are going to lose Peppa in one of the houses, but I think they're going to be able to capture it up regardless. Nice rocket onto Ayaya. Not going to be able to get the kill, but Yoshi immediately playing the point right back. Wants to get it in his team's favor as quickly as possible. And nice bomb from DWW. No one dying just quite yet, but Yoshi is going to go for the trade. Forces it out immediately onto Refame. Scout, double Uber. No one falling just quite yet. Refame seeing he can maybe catch out Minaj. And now late bomb from DWW is going to be the first death.
Yeah, Math does get that kill, and he's still doing a lot of pressure. And here comes Spoon very low, and a bomb from GMK does not get the kill. 2 down for the side of 400 BMI, although they quickly equalize that, and now with the spawner, 400 BMI can just wait a second, and then they're going to be in a very comfortable position here to just retake this point, even though they are down a bit of time. But Invictus does not want to let them have it for free. Their scouts are dancing around on this height, not taking too much damage, honestly, considering the situation. Refame even gets a kill into Ayaya. Huge play there from the scouts of Invictus, just staying alive and delaying this point for so long because the soldiers are already back for Invictus, and now they just can keep the point. Well, for now, until 400 BMI finally did cap, but that was a big time draw there for the scouts of Invictus.
Yeah, basically a minute off the clock for Invictus. Pineapple is a little bit weak. He's going to have to wait for an arrow. He's not getting it, so not really able to commit to the fight. Yoshi pressing very far forward. Now the Uber is going to come out from both of them. A lot more flashing happening for 400 BMI. Really great stuff from Math to be able to get all those flashes out from the enemy. Refame standing on the point is going to be able to capture it, and that's going to just be more time ticking off the clock. Math and GMK going to shove the house. It's going to be a trade. GMK finds one, might be able to find the other. No, DW is going to be able to save himself and manages to stay alive. Nice arrow to keep him up. Yoshi needs an arrow, is waiting for it. Is had like 1 hit point for so long there. Didn't get punished at all, and is going to be able to survive just a little bit to be piped down by Pineapple. It's been absolute chaos, but the people controlling the point has been Invictus, so the time has just been draining in their favor.
Yeah, definitely a much better situation for them here, although it is not over. There's still quite a bit of time that they have to work down, and 400 BMI does have the point, although Invictus did get quite a bit of cap time right there off the bat, so that's a huge bonus for them. Although at this point, 400 BMI has Uber right now. Math gets an early kill onto Ayaya. GMK went behind, and that's going to force the Uber. Pineapple is going to go down here in a second, but with Aizen living, that's a big Uber advantage for Invictus, and even though they're going to lose the point here, they're still up about 40 seconds, and with that Uber advantage, they're just going to wait for their players to respawn, and they'll be pushing in shortly. So, and they're actually, excuse me, they're actually already in. They're just doing a shove through this right house, trying to catch them off guard.
They are, and they should be able to. They get onto Indus just like that, and they might be able to find a couple others. They did lose one. I think it was DWW going in the backlines, does collect a couple, but now the collapse comes in. DWW, Yoshi, can they get anything here? They might be able to find GMK. No, he's going to be able to survive and actually gets a lasting kill onto Yoshi, so it's going to be a really great push from Invictus. They're going to be able to recapture up the point almost even on the time, but it's going to be Invictus with a little bit of advantage here, both in terms of time and in terms of Uber.
No, I love that recognition from Invictus. That was absolutely great because nobody on 400 BMI, I mean, I didn't even spot it either, where they just completely walked through the right for free, and it's such an off timing that 400 BMI just could not possibly expect that. Already a shove in this right house from the side of 400 BMI. They do get one kill onto Refane. Maf gets a trade kill there, and GMK does clean up another one, so it's definitely 5v4 here in favor of Invictus, and they still have the point with a big time advantage. Huge shot from GMK to take down Spoon there, and the soldiers are going to be fighting on the other side. DWW with the pickaxe kill onto Peppa, another scout kill onto GMK from Yoshwan, and now it's going to be 400 BMI pushing in, but Invictus does have uber advantage, and they just got a kill with the sticky trap.
Yeah, really great stuff coming out from Pineapple to get that kill. And Yoshi actually very, very weak as well. Should be able to survive and is going to get healed up. Refame playing the point, trying to make sure that a 400 BMI don't get a lot of free cap time right here. But Yoshi might be trying to go for the Uber exchange, is going to walk across the point. The counter pop is going to finally come out from AZN. Refame rocking forward, is going to find one onto Minaj. And just like that, they tie it up one apiece in this first map of the upper bracket finals.
Yeah, that was a lot better from the side of Invictus, and I mean, it was honestly it was pretty even at the start of the round, but then in the second half of that round, Invictus absolutely dominated. They pretty much felt like they were in control of like the complete second half of that round. So we'll see if 400 BMI are able to not let that get in their way. I mean, it's only 1-1, so definitely nowhere near over. Plenty of time to change and turn things around, but we'll see how that plays out here on this third fight.
Yep, going live, trying to see what happens for Fame. Going to touch the point just a little bit, and no one committing just quite yet. Taking their time now. The point is open, and immediately Yoshi getting a lot of cap time. Pineapple very weak, trying to touch the point. Bomb coming in from Peppa, doing a lot of damage. Collapses onto Indus with the help of GMK. They find two, Yoshi and Indus. That's going to be really, really great for Invictus. They might be able to get the point, but they have to worry about all the bombs. DW bombs in, not going to find anything. Minaj trying to go for a flank route. So does Ayaya. Neither being able to find a kill. Spoonful, the last one to die. So Invictus holding strong, going to be able to get the first point and keeping their medic alive to have 100% Uber.
Yeah, and with the huge number of players down for 400 BMI, this gives Invictus plenty of time to set up their hold. They actually have all their explosives set up on this one side. A big gamble here, but if 400 BMI do not pay attention and spot that properly, they are going to get punished for it. We'll see if there's a rotation. 400 BMI do spot it properly, and they are able to rotate over to the other side, take that space for free, and that's going to mean actually, DWW did go in aggressively, did go down, but they got the Uber force somehow. Minaj did a bomb and was able to get the force onto Azen. And actually, two going down, Ayaya getting a kill onto Peppa as well. So that was honestly a very fortunate situation for 400 BMI, because now they're about to have Uber. Their players will spawn very shortly. It's just Spoon who just spawned now. And from there, they're just going to be starting to already take some space and eventually get onto the scout.
And we'll see how successful they're going to be able to be on this push. Yoshi playing the point just a little bit, trying to see how much free space they can take and if it's close enough to launch an Uber straight in, but they have to worry about the soldiers launching in their face. Indus, nice serve to be able to stay alive, but Math with the flank is going to be able to force it out, sending Indus down very, very weak. They do use the Uber. They get a couple kills. There are still a few people in behind. One of them is going to be Pineapple trying to bomb on the Indus, is going to get the kill as well. Stays alive for just a little bit longer, doesn't find anything else, but the damage has already been done. They are going to be able to get the point, but with Uber disad, you have to expect AZN and the rest of Invictus to come right back, especially now with the faster respawns on their side.
Yeah, and Invictus have, even though they don't have the point anymore, they have a minute and a half less time to hold that point, and with that Uber advantage, meaning they should be able to get this point fairly quickly, that means that they just have such an advantage so far in this round. Definitely an uphill battle here for 400 BMI. They have to be careful not to lose their medic, of course, but they don't want to give up this point for free either, because you don't want to let the other team just take it right under your nose without making them use Uber, and Invictus does just get the point right there, but Math does go down. That's an early kill there for the side of 400 BMI, and a lot of low players on Invictus. Pineapple does get a trade kill onto the soldier, but this is maybe looking a little bit better considering the situation, because now that 400 BMI are about to get Uber, they can potentially start fighting a little bit more aggressively here, but they're in a really rough spot.
Oh my god, that AZN went down super duper weak, and they, oh my, pineapple bombs in and drops Indus with just a 1-2 punch. That is absolutely insane. Now DW trying to go forward is gonna find AZN, so tit for tat right there, but it's just chaos up and across the point. Ayaya in a battle with Rafaim is gonna be Minaj flanking to be able to get the kill, and Minaj is gonna find another onto Math. A bomb comes in from Peppa, is going to be able to survive and manage to reconnect with this team, but it's still looking a little bit okay for Invictus. They have a bit more time off the clock, but can they get out onto the point? AZN gets bombed. Peppa is going to go down, so it might be a little bit of a tricky situation for them to meet back up on the point, and a little soft forward hold coming out from 400 BMI.
Yeah, 400 BMI definitely turned this round around for now. There is a small Uber ad on the side of Invictus, but I don't think they're really going to know about it. They're not even building Uber, so they just assume it's even, and they're going to try to break through this hold for now without using their Uber. They are getting some space on the right side, and they actually get Peppa and Pineapple through. Pineapple with a huge juggle and air shot there to kill Indus. Big pick there, and with Aizen being safely tucked away with his I was going to say tucked away with Refane. There was a scout on him, but did not get any kill there, and the scouts just absolutely clean up the remaining frags there, and that's just going to be a big now advantage for Invictus.
Oops, sorry, it's going to be a pretty big advantage for Invictus, but basically even in terms of time, a little bit in their favor. So still doable for 400 BMI as DW bombs for it. A lot of damage onto Refame. Can they find anything here? GMK going for a counter bomb, does a lot, manages to survive. Actually, no, is going to fall trying to escape through house. So that's going to be one player advantage for 400 BMI to use. If they can, you see DW already rotating to the flank area, and a little bit of cap time coming in from Yoshi. They find another onto Peppa. Trying to wrap around is going to be Ayaya. DWW is already in behind. Is going to maybe go for the bomb onto AZN. Hits one rocket. Nicer from AZN out of danger, and to be able to stay alive, and they're going to be able to keep control of the point and use Uber aggressively. They find two. I don't think they're going to be able to find any more. Only a few seconds left on the clock. Indus almost has Uber, but can they reach the point in time? They already have a little bit of it, and they are going to be able to do so. They find Pineapple. They might be able to find Refame, who's actually just dancing on top of the point. I don't think they spotted him. Now he is going to go down, and they capture it up overtime for Invictus. It is doable for 400 BMI, but they have to play essentially flawlessly.
Yeah, that really means that all starts with this hold. It's going to be really important for 400 BMI to hold here, and if they can't, this is going to make it so much easier for Invictus. They have a lot of space on this one side, but they don't have much space on the other side, and we do have a pause, so I wonder if there's a close fight and then a tactical timeout. Hopefully that's what's happening at the end of this round.
Mission ends in 30 seconds.
It honestly could be anything, but hopefully there's no crazy disconnects. You know, you never want to see a med disconnect, especially in a crucial situation with Uber. Those can always be brutal, but based on the current situation, it looks like you would assume the Invictus is trying to get out through this right side door. They will have to deal with Spoon's traps, which are set up all over this door, which are going to be very annoying. I wouldn't be surprised if Peppa, who's the soldier who looks like they're about to lead, is just going to go down to these traps immediately, trying to get through, unfortunately. But we'll see once the unpause happens. And yeah.
Yeah, once the unpause happens, we'll see how it plays out. Definitely still doable for 400 BMI. I forget how much time they had on the clock, maybe like 40 seconds, something around that. And I mean, getting AZN is going to have to be a priority for them, because I think AZN has enough time to be able to get this Uber and use it to try and immediately recapture the point. So it's going to be a little bit tricky for 400 BMI, but I think they've got it. At least there's some potential there. Like you said, the traps might take down Peppa, but it's been very close so far. This was 400 BMI's map pick, I believe. So the fact that Invictus are doing very well on it, are being very competitive, might put a little bit of a, not doubt, but a little bit of worry for 400 BMI if, as the series goes on. And like you said, ideally, this is some type of attack pause coming out from either 400 BMI or Invictus, as we hopefully don't want to see too many players lagging out. It's just not fun for them, not fun for us, and it can, make it a little bit, you know, less enjoyable to play the game. I don't know if you know, does Math normally have 100 plus ping? Because when I hit tab, I see he's like at 120, but that I don't know if that's just a normal thing for him or not.
Yeah, that's based on location, so that it is unfortunately normal for him. There's a couple of South American players who just have to struggle, unfortunately, playing the North American servers with the higher ping. It's not completely unplayable, but it's definitely something that's going to always feel a little bit awkward, especially when you know, feel like you got a kill or you feel like you should have lived, and then suddenly you just get teleported back and you died to some explosive that you did not think you died to. So that can always be frustrating, but usually on hit scan, it's definitely a lot less bad than it is on the projectile classes. And we do actually unpause here. Peppa did live going through that doorway, so no death there. But Math is the first person to go down to DWW, and a second kill in favor of, in favor of 400 BMI means Invictus are going to have to kind of like back this up. Pineapple may be a little bit aggressive, but he's just going to chill for now. Nothing too crazy as Invictus wait for their spawners.
Yep, Pineapple and GMK still going to be out while everyone else from Invictus rotates around to meet them. And they do have a little bit of time to play with, but they have lost their Uber advantage. Indus now does have, as Refame going to play the point just a little bit, try to capture it up. But GMK goes down as well, so this push not going to plan at all. The Ubers are going to be used. Indus a little bit disconnected from anyone to help take this Uber. Doesn't matter, is going to be able to stay alive. No one falling just quite yet. Math going to wrap around, maybe trying to get on the DW. Peppa Pig does help out with that, but is going to fall. Minaj chasing that kill. A fight on the point. Can Pineapple be able to take down Yoshi here? They are going to survive. Whoever comes out in control at this point is going to win it. Both teams with overtime. GMK going to go fall. Spoonful finds one, actually. That might be crucial to help them keep control of the point. It's just going to be Peppa playing around the ring. Yoshi coming in now with Mav. Going to be able to take one down. AZN super weak. It is just absolute chaos. DWW spawns. Tries to go for the air shot. Not going to hit it. Indus walks forward to his death. And that is going to be 2-1. A very chaotic, scrappy fight at the end there, M1. But at the end of it, Invictus clutch it out.
Yeah, that was a huge play there from Peppa. That looked unwinnable with the Soldier Med versus the Demo Scout Soldier, but somehow Peppa was able to just stay alive for so long, do so much damage, and allowed the Scout to come in and help right at the last second. But huge play there from Peppa to secure the round. And we're into this fourth round. Even though this is 400 BMI's map pick, they're losing 2-1, so this is definitely a little bit scary for them, and that's why they seem to have a tactical pause there. So hopefully we'll see something different from them here.
And immediately, it seems like they're rushing Peppa. They find one in the house, Minaj and Ayaya, so that's going to be a really great start for them. GMK goes for a fadeaway bomb, and they get a little bit of cap time on the point, but they lose a lot of space. Mav, Refame, super duper weak. That's going to be one going down, and now the bombs come forward. GMK is going to find Indus absolutely all by his lonesome. Not great for 400 BMI, and so they do capture up the point, but AZN with 100 going to come right back in.
Yeah, honestly, uncharacteristic med like combo scout positioning there equally, just because he should not have been that separated at all, because that's just almost going to guarantee the med death. Two players go in for the side of BMI. Actually, all four go in, and they do get the force onto Azen, and they even got 2 soldier kills, which is going to make things a lot easier for them. It's going to be really hard for Invictus to set up a strong hold. They're going to delay the spawns until their players... they're going to delay the cap, until their players respawn, but the soldiers still have a decent distance to go, so 400 BMI might potentially have a chance to not let a strong forward hold be set up, and actually, Invictus don't even want to go for anything like that, so we're just going to wait for 400 BMI to slowly get through this door. There is a very nasty trap that has not been cleared. Oh no, and it does get the Scout, and Peppa gets a second kill onto Minaj, and that is a huge detriment for 400 BMI.
It is indeed. They're not going to be forced all the way out. They're going to still be able to play on their side just a little bit, have to eat the bits of spam being thrown their way, but all the momentum from that initial push out has been lost. Now they finally get their respawners, but they might lose one. DWW super weak, trying to fight Map over on the side area, is going to be taken down. Map is weak, but does get bailed out by Peppa. Nice peeling from the teammates to help them out of that tricky situation, but Pineapple launched into the sky is going to go down. Doesn't crater to his death. Peppa Pig is in behind, just drawing so many bodies and so many eyes, is eventually going to be taken out, but is just buying so much more time off the clock in the favor of Invictus.
Yeah, 400 BMI is finally pressuring this point, but already Spoon is very low because he's still rolling out. He is not there to support his team, but there is Peppa down, so I think that's the opportunity that 400 BMI really want to go off of right now with that one player ad. They do get a kill onto Pineapple early. Here comes the Uber exchange from Invictus, but they did lose the point, and Indust is not using, he is milking. There is no Uber force. Indust is absolutely milking this Uber. He does use right at the last second. Absolute crucial force there out of Invictus. That would have been very bad for them. But it is still a minute time advantage for Invictus, so it wouldn't have been maybe as bad as it could have been, but that could have been a bit scary. But now it's, I'd say, about even here as 400 BMI and Invictus have the same Uber out, although Peppa already gets to this right side, and Pineapple goes down very early. Huge collapse from the side of the 400 BMI, getting 4 kills there, only losing 1, and a huge hold there in that hold, and they're going to be getting more time off the clock.
Yeah, a lot more time off the clock, maybe enough to even it out, as they're still going to be waiting to get their bearings over on the side of Invictus. Math just scouting out ahead, and it seems like the push is going to be coming over through this right side. GMK once again going to be leading the charge, jumping through, trying to check and see if there's any stickies, but the bombs coming in quick and furious here. It's going to be Indust immediately having to use. They do expend quite a few to do so, so the 4-man proving its point, getting its job done, getting the Uber out from 400 BMI's hands, and now Invictus have theirs to play with and see if they're going to be able to retake the point and hold on to it to try and get a third round, but a nice early sticky trap onto Math is going to slow them down once again.
And crucially, they didn't even get an explosive kill on that Uber, so they're going to have to actually use their Uber to try to get through this doorway, and they don't get anything out of the Uber. They are fighting 2 players in this left house, but they do lose Peppa. That's a huge detriment there for Invictus, and now they're in a very awkward situation. They still do not have the point, and their Uber just had. They're going to have to get aggressive pretty soon, although here's a bomb from both soldiers on the side of 400 BMI. They are able to clean up the med and a soldier, but a huge collapse here from the rest of the team, and now it's just the scouts coming in on both sides trying to get the kill onto Indust, but Indust is very healthy, and we have another pause right as Peppa's bombing for the med.
We do have another pause. I would be curious to see, because I think last time it was 400 BMI, and they're looking very good to be able to win this round. If it is them again, or maybe if it's a responsive tactical pause coming out from Invictus, but question really lies, I think, on whether Peppa's able to get this kill onto Indus. I could see it going either way. Indus fairly healthy, he's got the pack right there, but if he for some reason tries to double back, or if Peppa doesn't immediately die and the scouts are kind of distracted by Mouth on the chase as well, then I could see him falling. Regardless, a lot better of a round for 400 BMI than the previous 2. And looking like whatever they did, they talked about in that pause, they've been able to use that to come back a little bit stronger.
Yeah, it's definitely a good sign from 400 BMI, but I wouldn't be surprised, like, based on the time, I wouldn't be surprised if this is like a tack pause right at 2-2 for Invictus, but it could be, honestly, it could be the second tack pause. Remember, you get 2 5-minute pauses so per map, so in theory this could be another pause from 400 BMI if they really made a huge mistake in this hold, but or for the remaining time, but they do have an advantage in this round, so I'm definitely feeling confident that they have a very high chance of winning this round, but it's not like it's over at any point. It honestly will depend on this bomb. Based on Indus positioning, it seems like he's going to be able to get to this pack in time, or at least like surf up to it, but honestly, anything could happen based on the way this rocket travels, but based on the way it's like currently looking like it's going to travel, it looks like it's going to shoot him to the right a bit, or a little bit towards the pack, and so I don't think there's going to be any med kill there for Peppa.
No, potentially not, but we will have to wait and see. It is always fun to kind of overanalyze a little bit these moments that happened in a fraction of a second for the players actually playing it, you know. But oh, we do have a pause and repause, so maybe it is tactical, but it's also maybe getting a player into the server, so it might be a double duty type of pause. Which, if that's the case, then I guess, get those tactic talks out while your player is struggling to reconnect. Hopefully they do, and hopefully it isn't too much of a technical issue, because that is always the worst. But ideally they're able to do it during a round change, so it's not in the middle of a team fight. But Peppa, we are going to be going live. He goes for another bomb onto Indus. Actually does get the kill, even though I think Indus did get the pack, so that is going to be really, really good for Invictus, as now they are going to have heals at the bare minimum to try and fight this point.
Yeah, GMK maybe getting a little too aggressive by himself is going to go down there, and the scout on the side of 400B might just get one kill onto Azen, but now everyone on Invictus is trying to go right back into the point, delay this. They don't have too much time, so they're in a very awkward position here. Peppa going to go down. Peppa got two somehow right when he went down. What?
Oh, that is huge from Peppa. And now maybe it calls into question, well, is this actually a tactical from 400 BMI again? Losing this would be very, very heartbreaking, and a little bit of a chip on the old mental if that does happen. But they've still got a lot of time to play with. It's over a minute that Invictus needs to hold in. Bagel, as a lot of cough maps, does capture up super quickly. DW going to be bombing forward. Minaj is going to be the first one to find a kill on the Peppa. Yoshi gets another as well, and it seems like it's going very well for 400 BMI. GMK goes in for the bomb. Not going to find anything, and this could be the second round for 400 BMI. Rephaim, they don't have Uber just quite yet. They're going to go forward, but they don't have it. And because of that, they lose it. They were so close from having Uber to be able to block that point, but just a little bit more building, and there was actually a technical pause, as we do have in the chat. Just a little bit more building M1, and they could have been able to hold on to that round a little bit longer.
Yeah, that was such a close situation there, and it looked like it was, it looked like Spoon timed out there. Yeah, it was Spoon lagging out, but hopefully we don't have anything like that happen during the middle of the round. Fortunately, it was during a pause, or during the transition between rounds, but it is 2-2, either team's game, and it's been very back and forth here, so I'm curious to see what we get here, although Spoon is actually very low already, but he is going to get bowed up pretty quickly, so nothing huge there, and both teams are pretty passive, but Invictus did get a ton of cap time. They're actually going to be able to sneak the point right under 400 BMI's noses.
Yep, that's going to be a really great opening cap for Invictus, but a lot of cap time almost immediately for 400 BMI. No one falling at the moment. Just going to be playing their sides. I say that DWW looked like he was going to go for a little bit of a shove. Gets a lot of space, and they get a lot of ground and cap time as well. Pineapple going to be forced back from a lot of spam damage, but IAA is going to be the first one to fall. Now, that's going to put a dent in their plans to capture up this point, a little bit less manpower to play around it. And Invictus holding on strong, already 30 seconds down in their favor. Minaj going to bomb forward, is going to commit, tries to get on the Azian. Azian is actually just going to immediately use. They get two for it. They get a third as well. And it's essentially a four-man coming out from 400 BMI as now they're going to be able to come back in. Already a lot of cap time on the point. Try and recapture it up, and ideally not have to use Uber.
Yeah, and with Pineapple dead, there's not going to be a really strong forward hold here from the side of Invictus. They do have their soldiers in position to try to do something. It looks like here's one passive bomb. GMK was considering bombing, but he's going to actually just jump out. Very low is, I believe, going to get out. GMK does get a bow, so he is going to be able to get out, so no huge kills there. Big time advantage and a huge bomb for Peppa in. Going to get the force onto Indus, and a four-man sack in from the rest of Invictus. They are able to get one more kill onto the scout, which will definitely help, but Pineapple is alive very late here. He's going to go down late, so that's a late death. That might be a little bit sketchy there, but Invictus have such a huge time advantage.
They do have a very sizable time advantage already halfway down on the clock. finally is going to be the first capture for 400 BMI in this 5th round, and they are in forward hold position, at least for the meantime. It is going to be Spoonful with the stickies over on that right side area. So it seems like everyone on Invictus is just going to rotate around and bust through the left side. They get a lot of space, a lot of damage, but someone coming in from behind. It is going to be DWW. Get the force onto AZN. They do get a lot of kills with the Uber, but doesn't mean that Indust is going to have in just a few moments, and you can already see that they're not backing up. They might find one on the Pineapple, and if they do, that's going to be really, really good for their repush back in onto the point.
Yeah, with Pineapple dead, it's just going to be so much easier to push back in, and 400 BMI are going to be taking their time. They have Uber as well, but they are down about a minute in time advantage, so you do have to still be careful. You don't want to let anything crazy happen. Big bomb from Peppa gets the force out of Indust very quickly. That's going to be a huge favor there, or a huge upside there for Invictus, and 400 BMI are going to recap the point at least, but they're down over a minute and a half, or about a minute and a half, and Invictus does have about a 40% Uber ad, so it's definitely going to be an awkward situation, but at least 400 BMI will have a strong hold set up here. They have traps in multiple different spots. They have their soldiers spread out. There's a first kill already from Peppa. All 3 explosive classes on the same door. GMK absolutely in the skybox, almost gets Indust. My goodness.
That was very, very scary for Indust. It could have just been a kind of headshot crater rocket, and he would have been toast, but is able to stand tall, still be alive. Is at around about 40% disad, but it's just going closer and closer with every second. The Uber has been used from Invictus. Can they find anyone? They get one onto IIL, but no one else, and they should be able to get control of the point, but Indust already at 80% is going to be able to come right back in with their Uber. Oh, Peppa in a little bit of a 1v1 in a tussle is going to be able to barely survive, actually. Huge lid from him right there, but 400 BMI are still going to be able to break this forward hold. GMK is going to go for the bomb, tries to land, gets a little bit of damage on the Indust, who's corralled up into the corner. Nowhere for him to move, but luckily the damage just wasn't there. Going to be able to survive, but they're all so weak. They want to try and take a little bit of space for free, but with Indust so weak, they maybe would have to use almost immediately. They get space, they find one onto Peppa. They're going to be able to walk forward, but the bomb comes in from Pineapple, forces it out from Indust, and that's going to be the recapture for 400 BMI. They get control of the point, but AZN already at 80%, and they only have 13 seconds left on the clock for Invictus. So one more cap could be the round.
It really could. There's 2 soldiers aggressive here, though, so you got to be very careful that you don't lose anybody on either side, as the flank players of Invictus do get a ton of space on the right side for free, and that's going to first force 400 BMI out of the area. Big house push from DWW, almost gets a kill onto the scout, but Refame and the combo are coming in. They do use aggressively. They get the kill onto Spoon, but it looks like that's all they're going to get. It looks like they're actually going to get this scout kill as well, but they do lose one behind in terms of GMK. There's a huge flank fight happening here. Peppa doing a lot of damage. But now, based on the spawners, it's going to be a little bit maybe like a pretty decent situation for 400 BMI because Invictus are down too.
Yeah, Minaj going to be going for a bomb. So does Peppa. Peppa is going to fall. Pineapple waddling forward. Gets a little bit of damage, but not enough for a kill. So 400 BMI are going to retake control of the point. They got 40 seconds left on the clock. Invictus have 0. They touch it once. They capture it once. They get a 3rd round, and just 1 away from taking the first map here on their enemy's map pick. Definitely still doable for 400 BMI. You can see their soldiers maybe trying to get an early pick, a cheeky pick on the Peppa while the rest of his team pushes out, but they're not going to find it. GMK is going to bomb forward, going to be able to clear things, but the aggressive Uber comes in. They lose one almost immediately. Can they find AZN? They do. That's going to be very, very crucial for 400 BMI as long as they don't lose Indus. Now going to be able to go backwards. They find GMK almost a complete wipe and only a few seconds away from taking their 3rd round instead. There's a little bit of cap time still left for Invictus, but it is going to bleed dry, and with a nice little air crit sticky from Spoonful, that is going to be the 3rd round for 400 BMI.
Yeah, huge win there for 400 BMI. This is their map pick, so this is the map they wanted to win, but you know, it's definitely a good sign for them, especially considering they were definitely at disadvantage there, and they came back in that round. So big win there for 400 BMI, and now it's on Invictus to try to turn things around. I think 400 BMI have won both the last 2 rounds, so hopefully for Invictus, they figure something out, or else they're going to lose this first map.
Yep. Of course, for Invictus, they can take a little bit of comfort in knowing that that last round was very, very close. It could have easily gone their way, but losing map to start off is not going to be a really great way to do things. They bomb in, try to get on to Indus. GMK is not successful there. Now, here comes the rest of the cavalry, and they might have a little bit more success. Indus is so weak in it. A stray pipe from Pineapple is going to get the kill. AZN once again managing to stay alive and is going to be out to safety. So, they are going to lose control of the point, but they're going to be able to come back in with Uber advantage and player advantage, as that is a very late death from DWW. And actually, I think it might stop them from capping. No, they are going to cap even though they have lost both of their soldiers.
Yeah, and actually, AZN actually does end up using Uber there. I think a bit of a miscoordination on the side of Invictus, and Indus is going to safely back away. And even though Invictus did get the point, they did delay both of their soldiers, which means that 400 BMI are pushing right back in, even without their demo. Although Soldier already pretty low early, is going to take a lot of damage, is going to survive, but he has to back out of the fight for now. Big push from the side of 400 BMI, trying to get the kill onto AZN, but it's a little miscoordinated and mistimed from the players, but a huge rocket there. Almost got the kill, but nice serve from AZN is going to keep himself alive, and now Invictus are in an even better spot than they were earlier.
Yep, they are. They're still going to be at Uber Dissad, and the spawners are going to be up quick enough for 400 BMI to be able to try and do something with it, but they do have to go quick. AZN already at 70%. They're going to be busting through these doorways. They find one early one in Peppa Pig. They should be able to get it. They've actually found both soldiers. That's going to be really, really great for them. They might not even have to use the Uber to get control of the point, but Refame might want to take an Uber exchange to try and block and get a little bit more point time off. He's looking for it. Is going to be going for it. The Uber has been used. Can they find anyone? They haven't even gotten the counterforce out from 400 BMI. This Uber not working out for them, and it is just going to allow 400 BMI to walk forward with 100% Uber, but the bombs are going to come in. Can Indus survive? Is going to have to use a lot. Some nice air shots coming out. I think one from DWW onto GMK, but they do get the Uber out. It's not going to stop 400 BMI, though, from getting control of the point. As a now it's just going to be an opportunity for them to focus up and get their Uber back. AZN can have a little bit of Uber advantage, only around about 20%, but if they think that 400 BMI are close, they can maybe try and do something with it, but Minaj was just hiding in a corner, is going to be able to get the better of Peppa. Yoshi's going to find another one onto Pineapple, so looking really, really good for 400 BMI. They're all a little bit weak, but DWW doing so much damage, gets onto AZN, and that is going to just even further give 400 BMI a better opportunity in this round. They're still down a little bit in terms of time, and they are going to lose control of the point, but with Uber advantage, they should be able to retake it in just a few moments as soon as they get their spawners.
Yeah, I think Invictus wanted to take the point, but I think they wanted to wait maybe a second or two longer because they actually delayed their medic's spawn timer there, which meant there's an even bigger Uber ad on the side of 400 BMI. Pineapple going down early in the four-man sack. There's a lot of players in. Indus is going to get forced there by the four-man sack, and they're even going to get 2 picks onto the 400 BMI players, so big win there for Invictus because their players have already spawned. They've already got their demo up, and with this big Uber ad, now they're going to be able to push out and take back control of the point shortly, but 400 BMI will not be giving it up super easily. There's still 4 players here, so.
Refame takes a little bit of damage, is going to have to go back for a pack, collects it, and now it is getting very, very close down to the wire. DW is going to trade out with GMK. The house shove coming in from Invictus. They find one in IIA. The Uber has been used. I don't think they're going to find anything else, but they get control of the point, and now both teams basically with a minute plus left, round about the same. And if you are Invictus, this is a slight do or die, as if you lose this round, you have lost the first map, which you have played so hard for on not even your map pick. And 400 BMI trying desperately to make sure that they do secure their map pick as they push out with Uber advantage. Yoshi taking a little bit of spam damage, not enough to get the kill. They don't have Uber just quite yet, but are they going to rip it as soon as they get? And they are rushing forward. Can they get onto AZN? He's backing up, leaving everyone to die, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Yoshi going so far. Can he collect the kill? He does so, and that's going to be crucial. They do lose their own medic, though. Indus has gone down, and the remaining scraps of players Pineapple finds one onto Ayaya, so it's not going to be clean sailing for 400 BMI, but a lot of the damage has been dealt. They do find it. Pineapple in no man's land. I don't know why it was all the way over there. Almost gets the kill onto Minaj, but that's going to be a very late demo death for Invictus. Soldiers gonna be bombing forward. GMK now wrapping around. Oh, nice. Oh my god, absolutely destroys Ayaya with some amazing rockets right there. Yoshi barreling forward as well. A lot of damage, but Peppa, oh my, the collapse coming in from the soldiers on Invictus, absolutely mulching every single person on 400 BMI. Only 10 seconds left. This should be their round. It would take a miraculous disaster for it to be ripped away from them. They do find an early pick in GMK, but with Yoshi going down, they do have DW on the point. That might buy enough time. Ayaya is going to go there, but they're all falling one by one by one. Pineapple getting two, getting three, actually. Pineapple, great stuff there. And it is going to be 3-3. The next person to capture, the next person to win this round is going to take the map.
Yeah, this is a very close map. I'm glad to see it going down to the wire, and that bodes some really good things for future maps as well, considering this was the 400 BMI pick. And in the earlier in the season, when 400 BMI and Invictus faced off on Metalworks, which will be our second map, it was a 2-3 win for Invictus, so a very close map there. And I assume we'll see another close map after this one. But for now, Invictus kind of dominating in terms of the health for now at the start of this round, as a lot of players on 400 BMI take a lot of damage, and Invictus are going to get aggressive just based off of that. GMK with a huge bomb, not able to get any kills for now, and he's going to go down, and Peppa goes down as well, and that's a mid-win for the side of 400 BMI, even though Invictus did get the point, so it's a little bit of a consolation, but it's immediately captured back, and Pineapple with a huge bomb in, trying to get the kill onto Indus, not successful there, and now down 3, 400 BMI are going to be pushing forward and forcing Invictus out.
Yep, not finding too much success there. Indus going to be able to stay alive, and 400 BMI with the very early and very marginal lead in this last round, but every second matters, especially on King of the Hill. Racing down that clock, 3 minutes as everyone on Invictus rush out. They do force their Uber. They actually get the force out as well from 400 BMI. Going to be a trade. DWW for Pineapple, maybe a little bit better for 400 BMI, but now Peppa bombing forward, drawing a lot of eyes. Is going to find one on the Spoonful, so it's going to be another soldier demo trade and a lot of ground gained for Invictus. They have a lot of capture time on the point, forcing everyone from 400 BMI back. Math playing in the house area is going to have to back up Ayaya and Minaj on his case. GMK trying to play the point. They should be able to capture it up, and they do so. Both teams round about the same Uber charge, and this is scrappy TF2 at its best. Both teams trying to play their best to get this round and secure the first map in their favor.
Yeah, very low players on the side of 400 BMI. They're going to have to back up here. They do have a bit of a time advantage, but there's multiple that are going to go down. You would think GMK gets one, but Math goes down. GMK gets a second kill on that 3K right there, and he is going to help Pineapple get the fourth there for his team, and that is going to mean that there is a definite one fight there for Invictus, and they aren't going to be able to set up the strongest hold because they are down one player, but they do have all their explosives here, so it shouldn't be too weak either, and it's even Ubers and about even time, so very even round so far, and 400 BMI is already busted through that hold.
Already busting through. They don't lose anyone, which is going to be really, really good for them. Invictus just trying to provide as much spam and pressure as possible. Taking a little bit, is going to have to jump back, wait for an arrow. Peppa playing the house. No one going too far forward, no one overcommitting, but Yoshi is going to be coming in with the Uber. The counter has been popped onto Rafim. Going to be a little bit later for Invictus. Can they find anyone in the tail ends of this Uber? No. It's going to be a post-Uber situation as GMK does bomb forward. A lot of damage onto so many players of 400 BMI. No one going down, though. DW does fall as Peppa does pressure the house. He's going to back up because now he's weak himself. Just going to be a soldier trade, at least for the moment. A lot of cap time for 400 BMI. Minaj barely misses out on a kill on Map, and it's just so close back and forth. Spoonful playing the point, trying to get a little bit of damage, going to back up. No one overextending, no one being able to find kills. It's been so evenly matched in this last round, but the thing is, Invictus have had control at the point this whole time. They've drained a minute off the clock.
Yeah, that was a huge time drain there for Invictus, and 400 BMI now have such an uphill battle. They do have the point now, and there's a few low players on Invictus, so that is going to delay Invictus from refighting this point for at least a bit, and even some more players on the side of Invictus pretty low. And here comes an aggressive Uber from both teams simultaneously going around, and the demo pick is going to be...
Both demos die!
Oh wait, both demos die. Oh my goodness. The scouts just run at the demos right at the same time, and now it's just an absolute chaos fight all over the point. Players on both teams very low. Finally some trades happening here, and it's a 4 versus 4, I would say, and Math is coming in from the side house. Invictus are going to be able to cap the point, but DWW did get 1 kill onto Peppa. Math going very aggressive, trying to get something, is just going to back up and is going to get picked off by Aya. So even with that cap from Invictus, I think 400 BMI are going to be shortly retaking this point, although Invictus are really fighting for it.
They are indeed. Have they been a little bit too far forward? Pineapple going in for the Hail Mary bomb, does a lot of damage and is not going to be able to find the kill. Onto Indus, managing to stay alive. Asian did get out of there safely, so is still going to be essentially even Ubers, but GMK is in behind. No one knows about him. If he's able to coordinate with his team, this could be an amazing collapse. Is going to go for the bomb now, has been spotted, but is the damage still done? Indus might be able to survive. No, is going to have to use the Uber. They find one to Peppa, they find another onto GMK, but they use the Uber actually onto Invictus. They do find one on Aya. I don't know if they're going to find anyone else, but Pineapple going for a big bomb is going to get air shot out of the sky by DW. It is absolute chaos right now as the respawners come back in for 400 BMI. AZN and Math trapped out, do manage to meet back up with the rest of the team, but so much damage being dealt onto all of them. Peppa is going to fall, GMK is going to fall. Only less than 30 seconds actually for 400 BMI on the clock, but AZN survived, Indus didn't, so they're going to be able to re-push in with Uber advantage.
Yeah, and I'm honestly surprised they didn't push in even a little bit earlier, considering Indus wasn't there, and a lot of the players on 400 BMI were very low, but they're in now. Here comes an absolute bomb, all the soldiers and the demos even bombing too. An absolute cluster fight. Right now it's favoring Invictus just a bit as there are low players on the side of 400 BMI, but 400 BMI does have overtime now, so all they have to do is recap the point once. Big bomb from DWW does not get the kill onto Aizen. Huge survive there, and he's also about to get Uber, so that is a big advantage there for Invictus. This is going to be an uphill battle for 400 BMI, but they do only have to cap the point at least only one time, so it will come down to this.
It will indeed. This is all on the line for whoever gets the first map in the upper bracket finals for Advanced Yoshi. Very weak. The Uber does come out from Raphael. Can he collect any kills? He finds one onto DW. Minaj is going to fall as well. So it's looking a little bit better for Invictus. Aya playing the point, getting it launched up into the sky. Chaos going all around. Peppa dies trying to hold on to it. It is going to be, however, 400 BMI with a lot of cap time. They do get it, but they stand on the point almost immediately. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. Invictus is in the last one up, and I think just like that, it is going to be 400 BMI winning Bagel 4-3. I think you predicted it almost perfectly, M17, and that is going to be a very hard-fought win for 400 BMI on their map pick.
Yeah, honestly, I was a little surprised for myself that I got that prediction right, but looking at the logs, it's really an interesting story. There's like so much going on. There was only a single drop in the entire game in even these 7 rounds, which is good to see from both of the medics, although there was a bit of a med death difference, but besides that, like, I mean, we definitely had some players doing a bit better than others, but it wasn't like, massive dominating performance from any one singular player. I'd say maybe Yoshwan had like the best performance in the server, but like it's not a huge uphill battle. Like both Ayaya also played very solidly in that game, and I think it really showed with the scouts just doing a lot for the side of 400 BMI.
Yeah, scouts absolutely popping off. Just having a quick little look at the logs. Pineapple top damaging the server at 372. A lot of bombs from him going in all the way, which you absolutely love to see. Outside of that, kind of even on the mid fights, one thing that does stand out to me though is a little bit of the medics. Indus dying 16 times, AZN dying 9. And I think there were quite a few times where it was Invictus being able to go in, get either the kill or the force out onto Indust, and Asian was able to stay alive, and that I think was a big reason of why Invictus were able to stay in the fight so much and kind of hold on to this game for as long as they did. But at the end of it, 400 BMI gonna walk away with the first map. Ooh. And yeah, but the thing is, even though they did win this first map on what the heck? Even though they did win this first map on Bagel, they've still got to go up against Invictus on their map pick, which is Metalworks, which, of course, map picks, they do mean a lot, but they also don't mean a lot. Like, there's been so many times where team trade map picks, like they lose on their map pick, then they win on the enemy team's map pick. But if you take them at face value, this was the map that 400 BMI thought they had the best chance of beating Invictus on, and they only barely won against Invictus on Bagel. So now we go on to Invictus's map pick. You might be a little bit worried if you're 400 BMI. Of course, you do have the opportunity to slow things down, maybe look at what went wrong and what you can improve on Metalworks. Of course, Metalworks very different from Bagel, both in terms of game mode and just the way it plays, a lot slower of a map, a lot chokier, but it is not all over for Invictus at all.
It is not. They won the previous matchup on Metalworks 3-2 over 400 BMI, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see another close match here. But we'll see. It's always such a weird thing because in terms of the map picks, because you always expect that, every team is like practicing all the maps in the pool, but sometimes, a team just sort of just meshes together much better on one map than another map, and it's always interesting to see where that comes up depending on how the team is formed, depending on the play styles of all the players and how they like coordinating with each other. There's so many different little factors that'll determine which maps your team are best on, that it's very hard to predict beforehand. It's something that honestly just the teams have to start feeling out as they're doing their scrims throughout the season. So I think it makes sense that we're seeing the map 2 Metalworks and Invictus have a favored win here. I would say at least they're favored to win this map, but I don't know if it's like a huge advantage. It's not like 400 BMI isn't practicing this map, for example. So it really could be anyone's map, especially if one team comes up with the strategy that the other team just cannot handle.
Yep, that is very, very true. I do have to admit, maybe I'm showing not age, but a little bit of being out of touch. I didn't even know that Passage was being played. I saw the pick pans, and I just quickly looked at the first one. I was like, what the heck is Passage? And so maybe a little bit out of touch in that respect. But yeah, 400 BMI not opting to go for Passage, which I'm glad for, because I don't even know what that map is. But we're going over onto Metalworks, and yeah, you are right that 400 BMI probably have been practicing it, and it probably will be a very, very close game if anything Bagel showed us is to be the case. I do wonder if they're problems with kind of keeping their medic alive. It didn't cost them the game. They were able to clutch it out at the end of it, but if they think that's necessarily a problem coming in onto Metalworks, or if it's just something that was maybe like Super Bagel specific, or they're able to identify it because having your medic die almost twice as much as the enemy teams and still winning is impressive, but not something that you want to have to contend with going further into the series.
Yeah, Password was an interesting one this season because it was actually voted in by the teams. It was voted in, and it barely, I believe, won. I don't think it actually barely won. I think it beat a couple of maps solidly. I don't think it was the closest map, but it's not been played that much this season, and that's probably because you would expect a lot of the teams who, are still going to be potentially playing it. There are going to be some instant bans just on it, but having some some experience on the new map in your back pocket can really give you an advantage just in pick bans, because if the enemy team just immediately just bans it, then you kind of have, one free ban that that the enemy team has to get rid of, especially if you have enough time practicing on passage. And you don't even have to be like that insane on it to really take advantage of that extra practice compared to the enemy team. You just have to have, a decent amount more practice than the other team. But with that being said, if you do that, then you also lose time practicing on the other maps. So that assumes that you're solid enough on the other maps, which are all still in the pool, of course.
I'm looking at this Scrandle. I think these two are like the same thing. It's both Yorkshire puddings. Like I don't know what the difference is. They're both for $5 as well. So
That's
I don't
five
know.
pounds. That's £5.
£5. My bad. My bad. My bad. And they're both from Derby County. Just one is from 2023 and one's from 2025. So I guess I don't know. Go with the one from 2025 because it's a little bit fresher or something. I've got no clue. They look almost identical. They are identical.
I'm pretty sure they're definitely from the same like place. There's no way.
Yeah. No, they are. It says Derby County FC, which I assume is some type of soccer place.
2025.
I go 2025. It's fresher.
Okay, then choose 2023.
Oh, ripperoni, pepperoni. Why are they just giving both of the same thing? Like the only difference is it the year again? Yeah, they're both £5. Okay. Our producer is telling us that this is a Scrandle Friday, so this is allegedly all kind of like the weirder ones. I would say maybe the right one, but what are your thoughts, M1?
Oh, I never know because it's also like deceiving because you have the little the fact that the left one is in like a plastic container, so but I'm like wondering what's like the bun at the bottom of the left one looks like a little odd to me, so I think I want to say the right one, but I could see this one going either way.
Well, I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna say right one. It looks like there's a little bit more food there. I don't know if it's just. You hate to see it. You hate to see it. Listen. Oh well. Okay. I'm also gonna say the right one here because it's 3 pounds cheaper. But I should say $3 cheaper because this is in America where these pictures were taken. So yeah, fuck it. It's $3 cheaper. So yeah, or actually 330 cheaper. There we go. Easy. First win. As soon as we're in freedom units, we start winning. Coincidence? I think not.
Now we're still waiting for these teams to ready up, so we'll just have a little bit of an intermission here as we saw. But honestly, one thing I am surprised is that we haven't seen any crits. I feel like maybe these are teams that could have brought out the crits, although I guess you do have two experienced medics, so maybe they're just like so dedicated to using stock that they haven't even considered it. But I'm really surprised that like a lot of the more up and coming players, especially I would say more of the upcoming players on the side of there are more upcoming players on the side of 400 BMI than on the side of excuse me, Invictus. But I'm really surprised we haven't seen a crits, to be honest. I was kind of expecting it, and we haven't seen any off-classing at all, but I expect that to change for this map because Bagel is a notoriously like no sniper map, or like it's really awkward for the sniper positioning, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get some sniper on Metalworks here.
Yep. I would agree with you. Sniper, maybe even some spy. The last can be very, very difficult to break. And, having a sniper is good, but we've seen sometimes that a little double off class, keep people on their toes, can also work wonders as well. As we are going to be going live fairly soon. I think you did say your prediction, but just remind me, I think you said 3-2 for Invictus?
Oh, that was the previous scoreline,
Oh,
and
that was
I
the previous
want
score.
to,
My bad. My
yeah,
bad.
I want to say it. I kind of want to say it again now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Okay, let's do it. 3-2 in favor of Invictus on the second map. I really do think it's going to be a close one here, and I think we're going to see similar stat line stuff in terms of every single player, honestly. So I'm very curious to see who comes out on top. I think it's going to be a very close matchup, and the mid fight is always a very important part of that, and it's really important is the demo rollout. Both demos locking out the opposing team, and
Oh.
already Spoon gets an
Oh
early
my
kill. The
God.
soldiers double bombing. Absolutely chaotic mid from both teams. 2 down on both teams. Indust very low as well. Juggled into Refame very low. He somehow stays alive. Does eventually go down. And the rest of the kills are cleaned up by Refame and Pineapple, with Minaj still being behind, but he's in a bit of an awkward spot here. He is just hiding, but Invictus very much know that he is there.
Does indeed know, as Rafame looking backwards to where Minaj is. Might still be able to catch someone out. Seems like Peppa and Math are doing their best to maybe try and clear things. Minaj might be able to get one. No, is going to fall. So that is going to be a very late respawn for 400 BMI. Up on Sniper, trying to see if maybe there's some shot that they're able to take, but he's just going to have to rotate back. They've got the heavy up in Yoshi. Spoonful actually getting the pick onto GMK. Should slow or hamper this push coming in from Invictus just a little bit, but are they still going to send it in? Answer is yes.
Yeah, even with 1 down, there is a sniper, and there's actually no space here, so Invictus is just going to get a ton of cap time here, and they're actually just going to steal it right there. Good recognition from Invictus. Everyone on 400 BMI was so far away from the point, and Invictus just saw that, put 2 scouts and a soldier on the point instantly, and just took so much cap time that even with the really fast bombs from 400 BMI, all they had to do was just force the soldiers off the point very quickly, which Pineapple and the other soldier alive did, and that just allowed the scouts to finish off the cap, and that's 1-0 in favor of Invictus. Very quick round.
Very quick round. Are they going to be able to keep up the pace? I thought it was going to maybe be a little bit of a slower game, but we'll have to see how the rest of it manifests. Now, soldiers bombing once again. They don't collide in the sky this time, but a lot of damage coming out. DW onto Raphael. Minaj is over in the Batman spot. It's going to be Peppa getting 2. A really great way to start things off for his team, especially considering one of them being Indust. They get AZN out of there, so they're probably going to have to give up the initial first mid capture, but they can re-push right back in with Uber, something we've seen them do so many times on Bagel.
Yeah, you always have, it's always on Metalworks, you can always expect the teams to just be able to use the big space to be able to, excuse me, you would say to be able to take it nice and slow, but Math going down very early to a kill there, and that's going to delay the push from Invictus, although the respawners GMK and Peppa are going to clean up one more kill, and that's going to prompt the big bomb from Pineapple. Oh my goodness, doing a ton of these bombs here. He's still so aggressive, and he's actually going to catch out Spoon, and with Refame getting a 3rd kill there, they are going to leave 1 scout to cap. It looks like they were considering having players stack the point. It looks like they're a bit split up on whether they want to stack the point or not, and they're going to have both of their soldiers cap and the rest of their team move forward, and they have Math on Sniper in forwards. He's just switching back to get the forward respawn, and because of the Uber disad, 400 BMI never really challenged that, and they're just back to last, so now it's an even Uber situation on 400 BMI's last.
Yep, gonna be going forward, trying to see if there's any way for them to break it. The sentry gun is coming up from Yoshi. Minaj on that door to try and lock it down, but IAI is going to be the one actually getting things started with a nice headshot onto Pineapple, or maybe should I say stuffing things from being started, as this push from Invictus has stopped. Indus launched high up into the sky, maybe almost a miracle moment from Peppa if he was able to connect that air shot, but doesn't. So Indus lives again, but Minaj is up on Spy, maybe just a spy check. No, he's actually left it, committed forward to try and see if he can get a cheeky little backstab to open things up for his team.
Yeah, it's always such a huge high risk, high reward when you're doing that defensive spy. It's such a gamble because you can get so much information, but you have to go for something and you have to get something, or else that could potentially mean the other team just gets a free push in. But at this point, 400 BMI, or excuse me, Invictus are playing with the sniper, and they don't know about the spy, so that could give him the opportunity to go in for something. There's currently a sniper battle. One sniper gets headshot, Math does get headshot, and here comes the spy stab, and he is going to get the backstab, the drop onto Azen. Huge play there. All while 400 BMI is going to safely keep Indus tucked away with his full Uber, and as soon as Minaj respawns, we should expect the push out here from 400 BMI.
Yep. And this could be a really, really great opening for 400 BMI. Of course, it is going to be very, very scary for them, because even when you push out, you do have to worry about any backcaps going in. If they have a spy of their own that can come in and undo all of your hard-earned work. So they are going to have the Uber advantage, but they're actually playing pretty slow. They've still got Yoshi up on the sentry gun, and I think they are just going to let things even out here. They're not going to go for it and maybe just try and bait Invictus into pushing again and maybe going for the round reset.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised. They have Minaj in on shotgun, so they are set up for the long haul, but I feel like that's an interesting decision there from 400 BMI, especially considering they went defensive spy. That is a very interesting. Maybe they're just trying to catch them off guard. Maybe they're trying to make them think that there's another spy player or something crazy potentially. Ayaya already takes a ton of damage early here in this hold, so that's a good start for the side of Invictus. But never mind, as Ayaya does get the kill onto Math counter sniping, and these sniping 1v1 battles have been going in favor of 400 BMI all the way so far.
Yep. And gonna just be sent back to the respawn room for Math. Decides to come up on the heavy weapons guy. We're gonna get some Puzza's power coming out, running with the gloves of running urgently all the way. Only 60 seconds, less than 60 seconds on the round timer before we head to a round reset. So we might see just an Uber change come out from Invictus. They actually get an early kill onto Ayaya and the Force as well. So it's going to be all right. They take down the sentry gun, and they're going to try and repush in with Map on the heavy weapons guy. Minaj might get his number, though. He takes a lot of damage, does able to trade it out, but DW finds one onto ATN. A little bit of cap time on the point. They're going to need a lot more, though, and it's only Rafaim to be able to close it out. Might be able to get one. If he clutches up here, that would be huge, but it's not going to happen. He falls, and so does the push. GMK is hiding in case they do push out. They're taking their time, however, on 400 BMI, and this might just be a full-on round reset. Seems like they're not going to try and push out on the second, when I think they definitely had a lot of time to try and do so.
Yeah, I think they're just going to decide we're okay with going back to the mid-fight there, and there are 2 down, 3 down for the side of 400 BMI. For Invictus, they did lose their medic, but it is just going to round stalemate in the end, and it's going to go back to the mid-fights once again. Very passive play then for 400 BMI. I'm honestly a bit surprised. I mean, I guess you're down 1-0, but you are up a map, so, you have to be very... It's always such a, big up and down, because it's just such a huge risk-reward there. If you go for it, especially in a moment like this, winner of this match gets a map advantage in the best-of-5 grand finals, so this is definitely an important match.
Very important indeed. As we go on to the next mid, GMK going for a bomb, just going to be landing in behind. It's going to be DW doing a little bit of damage, going to get shot out of the sky. GMK finding a one onto Minaj. Peppa going in for the follow-up bomb. So much damage. Spoonful should be cleaned up, does trade one out, but is going to go down, and Indus is trying to run away. It has got a demo hot on his heels. Is going to be able to surf out one pipe. Is he going to be able to live? No, misses the jump, and that might spell his doom. No, barely gets into the respawn room and hits the Banny Bind. That was so close, very inches away from death, but in dust we trust. It's a saying for a reason, proving it real right there, and that is going to allow a little bit of breathing room for 400 BMI on their last.
Yeah, it is going to help, because that would have been a very bad situation there for 400 BMI, but we're right back into Invictus trying to figure out how to break through this hold from 400 BMI. I feel like now is the time to go, though. There's no sentry. Unfortunately, Rafame goes down immediately, so that's a huge first death, and with Ayaya up on Sniper, this is going to be very tough for them, and they're actually just going to back out of lobby already, and they're just going to have Maybe Refame is going to come up on Sniper. Actually, it looks like Math is coming right back up on Sniper because he is running to the spawn. And Refame did not hold the door open, so never mind. He's not going Sniper.
A little bit unfortunate there, a bit of miscommunication, but if they do want someone on Sniper, they do have a little bit of time to play with. Still 3 minutes on the round timer, but Ayaya is up on Sniper themselves. They have been forced out, and everyone on Invictus should know about it. Now they bomb and trying to take down the sentry gun. It's very weak, but here comes the bomb from Pineapple, going in super duper deep, forcing so many people into the spawn door. Is going to be able to get one onto the enemy demo of Spoonful, but not going to find anything else. DWW looking like they were maybe going to try and go for a wraparound, is instead going to bomb onto GMK. GMK does win that one, is weak, might get shot down from Spam. If that ball connected, might have fallen, but doesn't connect. GMK gonna get healed right back up and is waddling forward to try and once again go for some type of play through this right side area.
Yeah, Refame really low, so I think it's actually just going to be a little bit of time for 400 BMI to get their respawner while Invictus heals up. They are trying to pressure now, but there is a gun up, but they do take some space. They're able to get the gun. No, they're not. That gun was very low. GMK is able to sneak his way out. A big bomb in from Peppa does get the force onto Indust. Huge play there, and what a crucial positioning mistake there from Indust. And Pineapple actually gets a kill into DWW. That's a huge opening there, and I think that's going to spell Invictus pushing immediately in, even without their 6th player.
Yep, gonna push in and trying to spam down the sentry gun a little bit. Is gonna eventually going down, so they're gonna be able to take a lot more space for free without having to use the Uber. Asian is gonna get bombed. Now the Uber is called out. They find one onto Ayaya, Minaj, Yoshi, all gonna fall. It's only gonna be Spoonful and DW left alive. He's gonna bomb, finds one on the Pineapple. A lot of cap time though, and it's still going to be the round regardless for Invictus. 2-0. Looking really good and on course to take a map here and send us to a 3rd one.
Yeah, again, the first map was a lot closer of a game so far. I mean, it is still Metalworks. Anything can happen. We're only 12 minutes into this map, even though we've seen like 2 rounds and a lot of a lot of sacking into last. So I feel like we haven't really seen much of the dance around second and mid that you might normally see on Metalworks when you can get there. So I'm curious to see if we'll get to any of that fun gameplay. But Soldiers going very high this mid. Nobody doing any super commits. Math does get an early kill. 2 players down though in favor of 400 BMI, but a huge kill from Peppa onto Indus does go down, and AZN is going to have to try to back his way out, but Minaj has his exit trapped out, and he's going to go down to Math here. You would assume he is going to go down to Math right at the last second, but that's a full wipe for Invictus and a solid mid win for 400 BMI.
Is going to be pretty solid. Nice for them is the fact that Indus did die earlier, so he respawns earlier. Going to be the slightest of Uber advantages, but if they build it up well and Asian doesn't build well, it could turn into something monumental. Peppa, however, is going to get a pick onto Spoonful, so that is going to make it very tricky for 400 BMI to really do anything with it. And actually, they might be at risk of getting pushed into themselves as Peppa goes in for a fadeaway bomb to get a little bit of space. GMK coming in through the other doorway. Everyone from Invictus finding a little bit of space. A lot of damage. Nice upward direct onto Minaj. He's going to return the fire onto Peppa. Gets one. They're all so weak, and they're all going to fall on Invictus. At least 2 of them do. So I like that idea. They're down a demo. Try and shove it, but unfortunately not executed well enough.
Yeah, and they're actually already just going to use in very aggressively, trying to catch players. They are going to almost catch Pineapple. It looks like Pineapple is going to go down. He did get a bow, but he is going to go down. We do have GMK in behind, but he's going to get killed by Minaj. And DWW is going to get a kill onto Peppa. That's probably going to spell the push from 400 BMI here, although Invictus does have Uber, and 400 BMI are going to want to force that Uber out now with Minaj with a bit of a fail bomb. Here comes that Uber, but he does drop Refame. AZN is going to lose his combo scout, and that's going to be a potentially huge death there, because just one less scout in the Uber means there's just one less player to get these kills while the Uber is happening, and they're now down so many players, and that is going to be a 2-1 now. Still in favor of Invictus, but a big round there, big round win from 400 BMI.
Yep, really good. Essentially just a mid to last and able to take it very, very quickly. So getting a little bit closer to a tie game. Good for them to get their first round in this second map. Like you said, the first one was super duper close. It was looking like maybe potentially Invictus were able to run away with the second one, but finally 400 BMI putting up a little bit more of a fight to get their first one. Pineapple rolling out, going to be shooting some stickies across the way over towards Spoonful. Getting a little bit of early damage, but the bomb's coming in. DW landing on the Batman Spout is going to counter bomb over to the rest of his side while they get collapsed upon by GMK and Peppa Pig. A launch of damage. Both soldiers going to be going down. Pineapple's super weak. DW going to have to wait for an arrow as everyone on 400 BMI play around this crates area. They're getting a bit of space, and they've forced everyone from Invictus back out. They're also weak. It's going to be another trade as well. DW going in for a bomb. That's a lot of damage onto a scout. It's going to be a third trade, but the space has been taken in the favor of 400 BMI. Yoshi and Indus standing on the point. Are they going to try and fight this? Seems like they were thinking about it, but instead Invictus going to fall back onto their second.
Yeah, with no scouts in the open, I think it's always such a risky play there because the scout is just so dominant when you can get them onto height in the open. And with not that many players left to challenge him, it just gives him so much space, especially when he's got his medic to beam him. So not really a situation there for Invictus to go off of. We do have Pineapple setting some aggressive counter bomb traps, or just anticipating this bomb in from the soldiers of 400 BMI. We'll see if they spot these traps. There is some spamming for now. We do have a sniper up on Ayaya. Ayaya gets the drop onto Asian. Oh no!
Ayaya coming in huge with that body shot drop onto AZN, and that is going to open up this point wide for 400 BMI. Of course, they do have to be mindful. They're going to be coming in, it looks like, through Valley from the double, potentially single soldier bomb, as Peppadel's going to go so much damage onto Indus, and is going to have to use with Refame coming in at the last moments, and that's going to be really great initiation from Invictus to get that force. Of course, Indus doing well to use. It's still going to be second point taken for 400 BMI and a few players in the respawn room. If they go quickly, they might be able to do something on last. But with that pick on this Spoonful, I don't think so.
Yeah, I was going to say this is really hard for Pineapple to hold, but apparently he just gets the demo kill instantly and instantly gets another pipe and sticky combo onto the scout, so the scout has to back up, and that's going to be a hold for Invictus. That was potentially a little bit scary there, but they are going to be able to hold this off. 400 BMI does still have a sniper, and they do have a bit of an Ugrad. Here comes an aggressive shove from the side of 400 BMI. Asian does get a kill onto Minaj, as Spoon did get one kill as well. DWW did try going behind. He's going to back up, but oh my goodness, nice shot from Ayaya onto Math, and that's going to spell 400 BMI pushing forward and Invictus having to back out here.
Yep. So they're going to be sent back to their last. Is going to be even Ubers, though. They bought enough time for that, and they should have map in just a few moments. A little bit of time for 400 BMI to work with. You can see that they're having Peak, from the shutter area. Just trying to see if there's some easy heads for them to shoot. Been on fire a little bit, and trying to continue that Rafim in the crossfires is going to be able to get out safely, and it's just going to be a little bit of a waiting game for 400 BMI to see if their sniper was able to provide anything for them to work with, or kind of corral everyone on Invictus into an abusable position for their soldiers to take advantage of. It's currently Asian kind of playing where Math is building his dispenser, and the sentry gun is only level 1, so it's a little bit spammable, and maybe an opportunity for the soldiers to try and go for something crazy, but it seems like they're just playing it slow and relying on IIR to hit some shots.
Yeah, I'm really surprised because they only have a level 1 gun to protect the medic and the soldiers in the demos, but that's the only, Refame was on sniper, so that could have potentially been dicey if there were some bombs from 400 BMI, but nothing happened there, so it's going to just lead into, oh my goodness, what is going on?
There was a little bit of a soldier on screen. We apologize to you guys at home. There's a little bit of error in production. But it's a fireside staple, so you gotta love it. DWW is gonna be going for the bomb, actually finds a rocket onto Rafim, and is gonna be able to take the sniper out of the equation, at least for a little bit, so that's gonna be a player advantage, maybe an opportunity for Aya to go for a more aggressive peek, a hero peek of his own. He's thinking about it. Spoonful finds one on the GMK, so that's going to be 2-player advantage. Aya going in for a super deep peek, not finding anything, and I think that this opportunity has slipped away from them, especially considering they have lost both of their own soldiers now.
Yeah, and that means that 400 BMI are just going to have to back up. That's going to give a lot more time off the clock here for them. And it's honestly going to force probably an exchange, you would assume. Although there is still a sniper. And actually, yes, Minaj is holding open the door for his soldier to switch right back onto soldier for this inevitable exchange attempt into last. Actually, I said that, but Ayaya is still on sniper. Did we have like a man tread switch? Is that what happened? No, we still have both gunboats, so I'm surprised what was going on there, but it's still just going to be a sniper v sniper, and 40 seconds left for 400 BMI to get this thing done.
Yep, they've got a little bit of time to play with, but it is ticking down ever more. Seems like they want to go for an Uber exchange, and Spoonful leads it in with Yoshi. They're going to be able to take down the sentry gun and get the counterforce out. Hitting a nice shot onto Raphaim, so that could be a little bit of an opening. DW finding another onto GMK, so if they're able to come back in a little bit healthy, they might be able to collapse. AZN really disconnected from anyone at the moment. The only person on point is trying to meet back up with anyone at all to try and help hold this. DW going for a bomb on the point is going to be very, very close. Scouts going for it. Can they do it? Raphaim doing so much damage, but going to be able to clutch it out with the help of Indus, and that is going to be a tie game.
With the help of Indus, Indus got a 3K on med on last. What? Okay, so Indus definitely won that for his team. Like, when you have a sniper when you're pushing into last, that is always something where you just have to be down on damage, and you're just down on damage, reliable damage, and Indus just completely made that up, cleaning up those kills. Huge play there from Indus, and that's going to secure the 2-2 here, going into this fifth mid. I think the mid's been pretty even so far, at least it felt that way. Both demos have a lot of space early in the mid, and that's going to spell both soldiers to do a fade bomb early on both sides, but no kills coming out here from either team, although a lot of players very low, and the team's going absolutely ham into each other's favors. And Math gets the first kill onto Minaj.
Going to be the first kill there. DWW is going to die trying to escape, so going to be a good point win for Invictus. Going to be able to go forward. They didn't lose anyone there. There's going to be no soldiers on 400 BMI, so they don't have to worry about any bombs as they make their way through Valley. It's going to be GMK, the person who bombs. Yoshi going forward, trying to see if he can maybe take this Uber in, is going to rip it out, and they haven't used just quite yet. They are going to drop their demo, but they haven't used the Uber, so is that an exchange worth taking? Hopefully it is for Invictus. GMK just going to be playing around the point, is managing to survive fairly long. Now Peppa going in for the bomb on the Spoonful. They get one, they get two, and they might be able to come back in, but DWW is in behind. Going to go for a play onto AZN. Gets a little bit of damage, but not enough for the force or the kill, so successfully navigated by Invictus. They keep their medic alive. They keep their Uber advantage, or Uber at all. And now they've got an opportunity to make this a 3-2 game. And Peppa's already in.
Yeah, I think a bit of a miscoordination there. Peppa wanted to get some early cap time, but the rest of his team just wasn't there. You could have either done one or the other, and that's just something where you have to be very careful. But once Peppa respawns, it will be a full Uber ad push for the side of Invictus, so definitely still favored for them, but it is not over. You know, we have seen teams at every single level, including Invite, mess up the push. Mess up the push into last, but already Spoon staying alive for a very long time. He somehow still stays alive here. That is going to be a huge live, although the soldiers from Invictus get so many kills on the point that it just does not even matter. And Invictus takes their 3-2 round lead, and my prediction is not correct anymore.
Is not correct. At minimum, we're going to be seeing a 4-something game. There's still time for 400 BMI to get back into it, but Invictus looking like they've got a fairly solid grasp of this one at the moment. It's been very close, very competitive, but just at the moment eking away with the potential victory and the opportunity to send us to a third map. But the demos meet on mid. It's actually going to be Spoonful a little bit earlier than Pineapple. It was a bit weak to start things off on the mid. GMK going to go into the Batman spot, mirroring DWW, who is going to go for a bomb onto AZN. It goes in behind. Indus trying to count out a little bit. Here comes the follow-up bomb from Peppa. Actually manages to survive that very, very well. Takes basically no damage, so really great movement from Indus right there. AZN is going to be able to stay alive with his 2 scouts, so they're going to have a little bit of presence on second, but with Minaj bombing in, they're going to be sent all the way back out to last.
Yeah, and with that late death from Math there, that might mean 400 BMI are going to try to pressure right now. They are going to try to get a sack in early. Minaj gets absolutely demolished, gets body blocked, and then triple air shot. Oh my goodness. That is brutal, but Invictus are going to be able to hold this down, and now 400 BMI down a demo as well. They're going to have to play a little bit safe, although they do have a flank shove here on the other side, and DWW is going for last. Will he have enough time to get it? Math is there to stop him, so not enough time. Peppa did get a kill into IAR, trading there with his teammate, GMK, but that does mean Invictus gets second.
Yep, and they could even try and pressure middle a little bit with that one player advantage. Peppa bombing forward, trying to see if there's any space or anyone that they can maybe pounce upon. It's going to take a little bit more. Minaj might be caught out. His escape is going to land on the pack. Does he get out? No, he's going to get bombed by so many people and dies on top of the house. So this should be Invictus taking control of middle and slowly fighting their way back across the map. It is going to be even Ubers. They can try and pressure a little bit onto second with a dead Minaj, but it is going to slow things down just a bit, allowing a little bit of a defense preparation for 400 BMI.
Yeah, and that's going to mean 400 BMI. They're actually doing a house shove here, a little bit aggressive, maybe a little bit early. They lose one to a trap from Pineapple already, and that's going to mean a big bomb in here from Peppa, in onto Indus, but a drop from Azen as the counter bomb from DWW, or the counter shove from DWW just works out, and he gets a second kill onto GMK as well. And this is definitely favoring in 400 BMI now. We do have Math in on the other side. It looks like he's going to try to go for the back cap. He does have his teammate Pineapple there, and I think he's going to try to delay. They're actually going to try to get the force out of that, and they're not going to be able to get it. They're going to lose both of them, both of their players there, and that's going to mean 400 BMI are going to take mid with a very big Uber advantage.
Is going to be a very big Uber advantage, and the name of the game for Invictus is to try and make sure that they at least bare minimum get their own Uber for last. They lose one in GMK, so that's going to be one less person to bomb 400 BMI as they walk in onto second. Actually, I think they're going to be able to take it for free. There's really no one there. I speak again. There's Refame in the forward spawn up on Heavy. Might be able to just delay a little bit if he's lucky. Might get a kill onto DW. Is going to get the kill onto DW, so that's going to be something, but still, 400 BMI might walk forward with this. Actually, they are slowing down a little bit, and with AZN at Uber, their opportunity of pushing in, at least on that Uber advantage, has been lost.
Yeah, but it's not that bad of a situation here. They're only down one round. They have a few minutes as well before it gets into that continuous overtime, and they have, 3.5 minutes to go for some sort of sack. There is an aggressive sniper here from Refame, but I think 400 BMI are aware of this sniper, considering they have Spoon and the medic in just spotting this very effectively. Everybody looking through the window right now for that sniper, just being very aware. I'm not sure what they're doing. Are they trying to fake out like they have a spy or something? Or are they just like talking? I'm not 100% sure there, but it looks like they were discussing what they want to do because they now have all their explosives aggressive in lobby, and I have a feeling they're going to do some sort of like 3-person sack maybe. Here comes the double soldier bomb from the soldiers of 400 BMI, trying to get in, and they do get the force onto AZN. Huge bomb there.
Yeah, really huge bomb, and good use from AZN, because if he didn't, he would have been dropped. Just so much concentrated spam on him in that area. So they are going to be actually very quick and retake second. So that is going to buy them a little bit of time when this Uber inevitably comes back in from 400 BMI. Speak of a devil, they are going to use Peppa, actually doing well to really block a lot of ground for 400 BMI, so they're only going to lose one. And that Uber doesn't get too much else. They can maybe try and come back in, but they still got the sentry gun up, so they didn't get rid of too many of their defenses. That is going to be a trade out soldier for an engineer, so it is okay, but they lose Spoonful, they lose Minaj. Indus probably gonna fall as well. No, might be able to get out. Surely should die. This is gonna be a lot on Ayaya. I don't know if it's doable. Indus is gonna go down, but can they get AZN in response? It's only Peppa to be able to defend their medic, and that should be enough. It is gonna be a scrap as the bombs, the respawners do come back in, and I think at the end of it all, it might be a little bit of a reset here, M1.
It is going to reset, but importantly, Azen has full Uber ads. There is going to be an advantage there that I would assume that 400, or excuse me, that Invictus are going to try to push off of it. They are playing as if they're going to push off of it, although we are only 30 seconds until the continuous overtime here. So at this point, it's pretty much going to be first to 4 rounds. Spoon does get a trap kill onto GMK, and Pineapple very low is going to get saved by his teammate, and Math doing a lot of damage. Is going to go down. Refame trying to get this kill, but is also going to go down, and that's 3 down for the side of Invictus, and that means they're going to have to back up to their own last and use this Uber to potentially defend, but 400 BMI are just taking their time. They're going to build up their Uber, and now we are in continuous overtime, so first team to 4 rounds will take this map.
Yep, this is do or die if you are Invictus. If you're just getting into this upper bracket finals best of 3, it was 400 BMI who won the first map Bagel 4-3 in a very, very close game. And if Invictus want any chance of getting into the grand finals, at least through this upper bracket, they have to win this match against 400 BMI on Metalworks to take us to a 3rd map for a potential for them to close out the series. So 400 BMI, they're going to set their soldiers in position to try and spam down the sentry gun. They do that. Do they lose anyone? They lose one in Minaj. DWW is going to be able to get out of there and might be buffed up just enough to try and go for something, but Hayaya is going to get headshot by Refame. We do have the soldiers bombing in, finding a lot of space. AZN is all by himself, but GMK is chasing Indus. It gets there with the spoon!
Oh no, a brutal kill there, and with Asian staying alive with his scout Math, that's going to be a huge hold there. You do have to be careful here because you're down a bunch of players, and I think Asian is telling Math to back up because of the back-cap threat. Asian is going to go out and fight. He is, that's Math going out and fighting. He's alone. He's going to go down without the rest of his team, but still an Uber out on the side of Invictus, so they're going to be okay with this situation here. They do actually trade the soldiers there in that right house, which is going to delay this push even further from the side of Invictus, and I don't know if they'll even want to push out at this point. There's only a minute left in the round.
Mission ends in 60
Yep,
seconds.
only a minute left before a round reset, and if you are Invictus, you can't blame them for trying to turtle up just a little bit, park the bus, and go for a round reset and have all that ground back in their favor, and they don't have to fight tooth and nail for it, as they would if they decided to try and push out of last. So Indust is going to have enough time to get their own Uber. We do have a spy out on the field. It is going to be DWW. They might have checked it. I know Refame was up on spy, but has not gone for it, and DWW is actually going to get the stab onto him. Should be spot out, but that is going to be one, and that's going to be the call for the Uber from 400 BMI. They get a little bit of cap time on the point now. Finally, the counterforce out from Invictus. GMK, big, huge bomb into everyone over by Lobby. He's chasing forward onto Spoonful. They have to make sure that they don't get too overextended here because the recollapse could be coming in from 400 BMI at any moment, and here they do bomb in. Spoonful onto the point, doing a lot of damage. Here come the scouts as well, doing a lot, but Refame on the heavy, trying to hold his ground, does a lot, but it's not going to be enough potentially, and they do get the 3rd round in the final moments. 3-3. We once again have a tie game.
That was such a weird situation there, because Refame was the one who off-class checked, and then he went onto Sniper and got himself backstabbed by the spy after seeing that there was a spy. Maybe he missed it or something? You would hope that that's what happened or something. And then GMK just going a bit too aggressive, losing 2 players there means that 400 BMI are going to take that mid, and it's going to be down to this 7th round here. Again, if 400 BMI take this round, they win the entire series and get an upper bracket advantage here. Already soldier bombs from both teams here, and still no kills. Well, at least 1 kill on both teams going in. Indus taking a lot of damage. He's still alive with the nice surf into his own house. He's going to stay alive, and that's Refame and Azen are going to back up safely, but a big mid win for 400 BMI.
Very huge mid win. Very good, however, for Invictus to be able to keep EZN alive, and it's going to be Refame doing well to try and deny a little bit of space for all of these 400 BMI players, and it's actually going to allow them to try and refight it. Peppa Pig is going to be able to jump through, and I think they have been able to successfully defend their second and make sure that 400 BMI don't get it for free. Minaj barely able to stay alive, but Ayaya up on Sniper. Last time they were into this position, they were able to get a body shot drop onto AZN. They're not going to be hoping for that if you are Invictus, but first things first, they have to spot the Sniper.
It looks like they have spotted the Sniper, and you would hope that AZN isn't going to drop this time. They're actually going to do an aggressive house shove because of that, but Spoon was prepared. He had some passive traps set up, and GMK just walks right into those traps. AZN takes a lot of damage here on this left side that might lead to a potential aggression here. There is an actually aggressive Uber from the side of Invictus here, and now everyone on 400 BMI, they do have Uber, but they're all in this very clumped in area here. Here comes the Uber force from the side of 400 BMI. Peppa does go down, so does Refame, but it's going to be a 4-on-4 fight to end, but there is a Sniper in, and AZN is still going to stay alive here. The Sniper is not going to be able to get much out of that fight. Pineapple is staying alive, taunting on the pack with the sword, okay. And then I think he assumed he was going to go down and then just kind of trolled, but here comes the re-push in from 400 BMI. Big rocket there from DWW. Gets a second kill as well, but GMK does clean up Indust as well. But this is definitely favoring 400 BMI here, and now it's just Math versus the Scout. Math does win that fight. Refame does go down to the two soldiers on second, but 400 BMI still don't have second, and Math is still dancing around back here alive on mid, so that's going to delay enough time for his team, but he is finally going to go down.
Is finally going to go down, and that was a very hectic as well. Very good job from those Scragglers actually on Invictus to just try and buy as much time as possible. A lot of damage, oh my god, from onto DW, but it is still going to be everyone from 400 BMI walking forward, being able to capture this second point. We do have Math up on Spy, this time going to be the one Spy checking, and just trying to see if there's any shenanigans immediately out from 400 BMI, but they don't have to worry about that. They got to worry about the soldiers, and the demo bombing in, doing so much. Ayaya is going on a spree. Can he find AZN? A little bit of damage. Spoonful on the point. Might capture it up himself, you know, is not going to be the case. And that 4-man almost got enough there, but it's not going to be quite there, and it's still going to be an even Uber stalemate, second to last.
I like the play there, and considering they got so much cap time, they can stay very aggressive here. Math has to just back out, because if you go down here, this could potentially mean a last push in from the side of 400 BMI, but they are able to leave their players alive, and Refame is already, excuse me, I was going to say that's Math, sorry, already Spy off-class checking again while Refame gets a gun up, so going to be back to that standard hold that you're trying to break on Metalworks last. Always a tough one, and especially with these demo traps in very annoying spots. Soldiers are in very awkward spots. Actually, an aggressive Uber from the side of 400 BMI. They're trying to get this exchange here. Spoon does kill the gun, but the counter Uber comes out from the side of Invictus, but no other deaths there, so it's just going to be both teams building Uber. No like heavy or anything, but 400 BMI actually are deciding they want to push off of this.
Yeah, gonna try and go in, see if they can do something in the post Uber. They're getting a little bit of space. They're getting a few kills. It's gonna be Ayaya standing on the point. Can anyone block it? No, no one can. And that's gonna be it. It's going to be the map and the match, all going the way of 400 BMI, 4-3 on both maps, Metalworks and Bagel. And that is going to be 400 BMI making their way into the grand finals for this advanced season.
Yeah, big win there, especially because they lost 3-2 on the previous matchup earlier in the season. The only time these teams had faced before was on Gully Wash, and both of those matchups were won by 400 BMI. But this is definitely a big win for 400 BMI. That's going to give them a lot of confidence going into this grand finals, along with the upper bracket advantage, you know, in the best of 5. One team now has to get 3 maps, whereas 400 BMI only have to win 2 to win the entire series once they get to the best of 5 grand finals. And of course, the lower bracket team, now Invictus, will have to face the winner of the other lower bracket advanced match. So we'll see who that is, and that if Invictus can win that match and make it right back here, they have an even bigger uphill battle.
Yep. An even bigger uphill battle awaiting Invictus if they want to try and get into grand finals in the first place, and even more if they want to be the victors. But a close game all the way down 400 BMI managing to close it out in 2, though, albeit by very, very thin margins. Really could have gone either way on either map, you'd have to say. But just looking quickly at the logs, top damager is going to be someone who I have to look at their RGL name for. But right behind them, going to be Pineapple, who had, I think, a pretty good series, honestly, in both Bagel and Metalworks. And then along that, their top kills is, I believe, Refame, if I can, by power of deduction, at 30 and 11, so having a pretty good game as well. But yeah, very even all across the board, you'd have to say, just looking at these logs.
Yeah, pretty even. I think about what we expected from both teams. There's usually, and whenever I was taking a peek at previous matchups as well, and it's usually that 400 BMI gets a little bit more damage in kills in each of their matchups, but it's not like a huge amount more. And then it's always comes down to each individual round, or at least like it's usually a very close matchup in either way. So I'm glad to see that this was a close series, even though it was only a 2-map affair. But we'll see how that plays out in the best of 5 grand finals, assuming that Invictus can make it there. They're going to have to face the winner of, I believe that's Cult of Personality versus Garm6, if I remember correctly.
You are correct, and that should be pretty exciting series whenever it does come to fruition. But at least for now, that's going to be it for us tonight. You just saw the upper bracket finals for season 20 of Advanced, and 400 BMI able to win out against Invictus in 2 maps, 4-3 on each map, Bagel and Metalworks respectively. Check back in Fireside while we continue our coverage for Advanced playoffs. And until then, we hope you've had a great night. See you next time.